Welcome to yet another episode of NTV Seeds of Gold. Join us today as we learn more about Soursop, or what the locals call chitafed. Let's learn about the magic and the gold in this seed. We're on the Archangel Farm and we can't wait to have you. Tonight, we're about to embark on an exciting journey with a farmer who has made waves in both journalism and the agro realm. Get ready to meet Mr. Bart Kakoza, whose passion for farming has yielded nothing short of impressive results. Originating from Brazil and India, this spiky fruit with a rough exterior hides a soft, smooth pulp filled with numerous seeds. So today we meet Bart Kakoza in the capacity of a farmer, not the phenomenal journalist that you know. And he's going to talk to us about the debatably magical fruit, Soursop. It's nice to have you on the show.
Well, thanks very much.
So, Soursop is fruit that is just picking popularity in Uganda. What made you venture into it?
You know, when I was growing up, my father had a soursop tree, which we call chitafed in our garden. And we used to rush to it to get fruits, and the fruits were competing with these black insects. So we looked for it, and before you take a bite, you're biting into a maggot or you're biting into a black seed. But still then, we ate that because it was extremely delicious and sweet and nice. But then what it used to do to us, if you ate a lot of it, then you'd go to sleep. It would give you some kind of a lull to go and sleep. And then we said, this thing, so if you wanted to take a nice sleep, you go and look for one which was ripe and eat, and then you sleep soundly. But then it became a delicacy because everyone wanted it. And then when I grew up, I said, one day when I grow up, I planted chitafed. So I planted chitafed.
So how many trees are we looking at here in this farm?
From the start, I just used my rudimentary method of planting. I said, if I planted this, and then I realized, as you notice, the first ones are a little bit closer to one another. Then I realized, I said, hey, what if it becomes too big? Then I expanded the size, the distance from one tree to another. And I realized I needed about, if you want to plant them in a very good space, with a very good spacing, you need about 4 meters by 4 meters. So if you have 4 meters, then it's able to grow up.
With each tree giving how much fruit?
This soursop tree is interesting because they come in season. So each tree can give you, if you give it good compost manure, it could give you about as many as 20 fruits. And depending also on the size, because they can be huge. A tree like a fruit like this one, this is about 2 kilograms. You can have about 20 of this on a tree.
And we're back. Now let's delve into the fascinating world of propagating soursop. It can be done through seeds or vegetatively by grafting. If you choose seeds, make sure to wash and dry them before planting. And here's a pro tip. Planting the seeds within 30 days of harvesting will give you a remarkable 90% germination rate within 15 to 30 days.
The propagation of soursop is actually easy because the fruit, the seeds embedded within that fruit are the ones used to plant some seedlings. So if you get the seeds, either you can plant them directly on where you want to permanently keep your tree, or you use the plastic things and put in the usual seedling method they use to grow other trees. Then you can transfer it to the tree and plant it. A big hole, which is about 2 feet deep and maybe 1 meter wide. The 1 meter wide because, or 3 feet wide, because you're going to feed this tree with manure, with compost manure, which you have gotten from anywhere and put around, so it keeps eating, so you keep feeding from there. Then after when you plant, the seedling should be, in order to be planted, you can start planting at the height of 1 foot. You can grow even up to 2 feet and 3 feet, and you plant. Then you wait for 2.5 years and you start eating your fruit. It starts fruiting at 2.5 years, very few years. Then when it brings the fruit, when the soursop brings the fruit, the first initial fruit, it would take about, it goes very fast, about 3 weeks, the fruit will be ready to ripen. But then of course you have to compete with birds, because birds like it so much. The lifespan of a soursop tree is actually forever, as long as you look after it. It's just like a coffee tree. What you need to look after is to take care of is pruning. You have to prune it so that it stays healthy and don't have a lot of parasites growing around it, because they make it, you not get productive fruits. But it lives forever, because the old trees I know in my village are still there. Even when they are mistreated, they still grow. But the other thing also you need to notice that if you don't prune it, it creates a lot of darkness, and darkness does not allow the fruits, the trees to bear fruits. During pollination, they are not going to be pollinated. You can have a lot of flowers, but they are not going to be pollinated because they are in the dark. That's why we keep pruning it. We have to constantly prune so that you remove the darker part.
Soursop comes in various sizes and shapes, from symmetrical hearts to intriguing irregular forms. Its texture varies depending on the climate, transitioning from a vibrant yellowish green to a rich brownish hue when fully ripe. The fruit's abundance of natural sugars makes it ideal for juicing and is often used as a sweetener additive. But the soursop isn't just a sweet treat. It's packed with essential nutrients that benefit our health in numerous ways. Rich in iron, it helps prevent anemia, while phosphorus aids in absorption and utilization of calcium. And let's not forget about vitamin C, which boosts our immune system.
I realized that it is so popular in South America, especially in Brazil, and most of those, they grow it religiously. So I went there, I found out, when I was in Brazil, I asked them, I said, what? They said its value is innumerable, because they believe that it has cancer cells killing property, such that it's crazy. So everyone wants to eat it and they want to use it to stop cancer from spreading. I don't want to be misquoted and saying, oh, Bart has said that it cures cancer. No. So when I started planting it, I supplied it to the women who sell it in the market. And one of the women came and said, you know what? One weekend I had not brought them. She came and I said, what do I do with my patient? I said, which patient? Are you a doctor? He said, no. There is a patient who I've been supporting. He's a cancer patient, and I've been giving him these fruits for a long time. She says they are the ones that help her keep alive. So now what am I going to tell her? I said, oh, so she asked her. I said, yes. She said, that's what has helped her. And as a result, everyone now, most of the people are health conscious. They look to that fruit as a source of remedy to control cancer, and those who want to have good night's sleep, if it is there, it's highly nutritious.
So while you were selling it, estimate, say a fruit this big, how much would that go for?
If I'm selling this to a retailer who is going to retail to resell, I always leave money for them. So this one I can give them at 5,000. But if I am selling the final consumer, the one who wants to use it, I say this one 10,000 shillings.
So which is good, a tree with 20.
Yeah, if you have 20 fruits on the tree of this size, you should be able to make a lot of money. And the market, the demand is growing every day. The market is growing. You cannot exhaust the market.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So have you considered value addition maybe?
Value addition in form of making juice out of it. Because I would actually introduce a soursop juice bar in the city center. And I only did in that, and I asked people come and drink it in soursop for health purposes. And people would come. But I'm not going into that yet. The other value addition you would want to do is that get the fruit and dry it. So if you dry it and then you either sell it when it's dried, And now, of course, another interesting value addition is the leaves. The leaves they also contain a lot of nutritional values that if you use it as a tea in your every day, it changes your life. And you want to export leaves. But don't tell URA because they are going to start coming after me and say, this man is making money from.
You just told them.
Yes, well.
Bert's farm is a testament to the power of innovation. He encountered a pesky problem with black ants that threatened to destroy his soursop trees. But Bert's out-of-the-box thinking led him to wrap rags around the trunks, creating an ingenious solution. It's not just for decoration, folks. It's a clever ant-deterrent.
The biggest nightmare of growing soursop is actually the black ants. Because people can't grow them, they think you cannot grow them because the red ant, the white ant, the black ants like it so much. And they climb from the so I looked at it one day, I said, what do I do? So I got a rag and tied it around and started, instead of spraying up the whole tree, I spray only the rag. So when the insect comes and climbs and reaches there, it smells the thing and goes back. So it will never have access to it. That's the innovation I did. And if people can do that, then they grow soursop.
But what makes soursop truly extraordinary are its incredible benefits. Its seeds are not only used to treat intestinal worms in both humans and animals, but the leaves also play a vital role in controlling diabetes. If you're suffering from a toothache, the root and the bark of a soursop tree have been used for centuries in traditional remedies. Anemia, not on our watch. Regular consumption of this delectable fruit helps prevent this condition. And if you're struggling with diarrhea or dysentery, fear not. A solution made from the bark of the soursop tree is a powerful weapon against these ailments. But that's not all. Its leaves are even believed to possess healing properties and have been used in the treatment of tumors and cancer. While soursop brings a multitude of advantages, it is important to be aware of its potential effects. In very rare cases, it may cause nerve changes and movement disorders. As with any natural remedy, it's always wise to consult a healthcare professional before including new elements into your diet. Now let's take a short commercial break. But don't go anywhere, because when we return, we'll treat you to an exclusive tour of Bert's mighty farm, accompanied by the expert's opinion on the soursop phenomenon. The remarkable soursop. From its origins in India and Brazil to Bert's innovative techniques, this fruit is truly a gift from nature.
The suckers, you see, like this one here, you are not supposed to have these suckers growing here because you have to keep getting rid of them, like these ones which are growing here. I'm not going to cut this one because this one is bringing a fruit. This one doesn't have flowers, I can get rid of it. And yeah. Do you see the difference between the green and that green? It's trying to become a little bit brown. So I can cut it. It's very easy when you to harvest. You just pull it and you see this is ready. About one day tomorrow it's going to be ready for to be ripe. Yeah. See, like this one you see may not be important. Cut this one and minimize on the danger of it picking disease from the ground. Yeah. This one fell down, you see?
Oh yeah.
Like this one was, it's ripened and nobody took notice. Have you? This one, nobody took notice. But it's still okay, you can cut it now and it's because it's overripe. You can still eat it, it's edible. If you want to grow them, they are available. You can pick seedlings. And you see these spikes. You don't remove them, they are the ones which help it to keep fresh. Sometimes you go in the market and you find they have removed all this. So this is ready. It may not look brown, but me I can tell because of experience. I know this is ready.
Yeah, you can see a bit of it.
Yeah, it's ready. So you can make a nice smoothie out of it. Very nice juice. Yeah. these fruits are interplanted with Prunus africana. This is Prunus africana. I don't know. This is a wonder tree.
Yeah.
It has actually been proven that the bark of this tree is very useful in treatment of enlarged prostate. Because as we grow up as men, especially, your prostate gland must expand. And if you are unfortunate, then it becomes cancerous. But not everyone who has an enlarged spleen will develop into it. But it will be a nuisance to you because you go to urinate and it kind of blocks the urine. But the bark of this tree is known to contain that situation. It stops the enlargement of prostate. And that's why in some countries it's an endangered species. It's guarded very well. You can't simply cut it. I have about 300 trees in this orchard.
Yeah. Glad that you're still watching. Let's get into our segment of the expert opinion. Today with us we have Solomon Serewo, an agronomist and a common expert here. Well, we can't get enough of his expertise. So today, Solomon, we're looking at soursop, or what the locals call chitafed. There's so many tales of soursop. It's nutritious, it fights cancer cells, you know, it does all these very good things. There's so much good said about it. And yet not many people are venturing into farming it. Why is that?
Soursop is a fruit, and it contains quite a rich amount of nutrients that are healthy to consume, that the body needs to function properly. But the sweetness that we taste in the soursop, which can sometimes be described to be a combination of pineapple and strawberry, is so good that the insect pests that usually attack it enjoy it as well as we enjoy it. So some of the biggest challenges that make it hard to grow soursop and get the best fruits out is the routine infestation with insect pests. So most people are afraid because the combination of insect pests that attack soursop are not so easy to control, but following guidelines, one can easily manage them and keep them at bay to enable them produce soursop either for themselves or for the market. Apart from or away from the insect pests that make it a little bit cumbersome for people to grow soursop, the soursop, which grows as a tree, is actually very easy to grow because it thrives on quite a range of soils, varying from levels of fertility from low to highly fertile soils. And the requirement, the average requirement of a soursop tree to grow is loamy loose soil, but with adequate fertility and a pH of about 6 to 6.5. People that grow soursop commercially on a large scale could actually test their soils to ensure that they are in a state that can allow the soursop trees to thrive. But with a little bit of adjustment in soil fertility, one can easily grow the soursop trees and manage to get yields as high as 24 fruits per tree per year. So it is as easy as that when it comes to the requirements. And then, like we talked about the insect pests, they're also easy to manage, and I think that's what we'll be getting into in a bit. There are also a few diseases which are not very common, but one or two could actually be a problem, and those two can easily be managed.
So how can one manage these pests and diseases?
So talking about insect pests, there are about 4 of the insect pests that are a huge problem. And what is common about these 4 is that they are all sucking insect pests. They suck sap out of either leaves or the fruit itself. And the most common symptoms of infestation of insect pests in soursop is what we call sooty mold. It's a darkish covering on the fruit and sometimes on the leaves, between branches and leaves. So what these insect pests do is they suck sap out of the soursop, out of the tissues of the leaf and the fruit. And as they suck this sap, which is more often sweet sap, they exude the excesses from their bottoms. And this attracts the mold, which is sooty in nature. And when that covers the fruit, it distorts the appearance. But on the leaves, it reduces the rate of photosynthesis, which is the process through which the plant makes the food. So that affects the size of the fruits, it affects the vigor of the plant, and overall it reduces the quality of the fruit. A lot of the control that we need, first and foremost, involves the use of insecticides. And one potent insecticide that does a very good job is nimbecidine. It is a neem-based botanical extract which helps to repel and prevent further feeding of these insect pests on the fruits. And when that happens, that means the mold will not easily find its way on the fruit to establish or to colonize the fruit. Apart from that, there's also commonly use of, they call them insecticidal soaps. They are soaps that have insecticidal properties. Once these are sprayed, they're also able to reduce the populations of these insect pests, and that way someone can keep them at bay. Other than that, the synthetic pesticides that one can use are examples of the duduacelamectin, which is a combination of abamectin and acetamiprid. Does a good job, especially on the sucking insect pests, to control either aphids or scales or mealybugs that cause the sooty mold.
So you mentioned the soils, the perfect soils, because the loamy soils and a bit of fertile. This is one of those countries that is really blessed vastly. Whatever region, there is something you can grow. So is soursop something we can grow in any region in this country?
Interestingly, majority of our soils are acidic.
Okay.
Acidic is pH below 7. And when we talk about a pH that ranges between 6 to 6.5, that essentially means that our soils are able to accommodate or to support soursop trees. And because the soursop grows on a range of, fertility of soil, most of the areas in the country can actually support soursop plants or soursop trees to grow. So that's why we see it in people's compounds. Then the commercial producers have large acreages opened up. So yes, we can grow soursop in Uganda, and it does really well in areas that are warm. When it gets cold, it affects the physiology, the ability of the plant to grow as normal as we would expect, or as normal as it is supposed to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what duration, quite often people want to know, people want faster goals, right? So what duration would it take, basically the journey from the nursery bed to someone's home for consumption? So
the seed itself germinates from between 15 to 30 days. That's almost a month. But to help the seed germinate fast, it's advised that it is soaked in water for about 24 hours. That's pretty much overnight. So from germination, the seed can be grown or can be raised from pots, seedling pots, which are often polythene in nature. And from transplanting to the first flowering or harvest, it could take about 3 to 5 years. So that's a bit of a long time, but there's a lot of improvement that is going on to reduce that time from transplanting to the first flower or to harvesting the first fruit. But on average, it takes about 3 to 5 years for a farmer or for someone to pick the first soursop fruit.
Well, thank you, Solomon. It's always a pleasure. Tap into that mind of yours. And thank you so much for sticking with us. That's our episode for today. See you next time. Don't forget to keep the comments coming in. #NTV Seeds of Gold. See you next time.